I don't know. I mean, I've kind of lost control of Star Wars, so it's going off in a different path than what I intended.
Breaking news, George Lucas doesn't like the Disney trilogy. Kathleen Kennedy is the boss at Lucasfilm, and Jon Favreau is just her employee. Also, Lucasfilm is filled with hypocrisy. All this in a Nerdrotic Stating the Obvious special report.
Nerdrotic.com.
That's right. Disney Star Wars is not Star Wars, and George Lucas agrees with that. Now, a great example of YouTube inception. Last night, I was watching a Star Wars Theory live stream, which was covering a Black Jedi video who was covering another video from a school back in October 2020, where a kid asked George Lucas a question, and he says, "I lost control of Star Wars." Without a doubt, George doesn't like what Disney has done with his baby. He completely disowns them in this video and goes on to explain what his philosophy was behind his Star Wars. Now, the other question has to be asked, does he regret selling Star Wars to Disney? No, I don't think so. And I have some evidence of that later on in the video. But first, the question.
You guys are, it's just amazing. But I got Jeremiah Camacho, one of our eighth graders, who has a question about Star Wars. So we'll go from the sublime to the sublime.
Cool background, Jeremiah.
Oh, thank you. My name is Jeremiah. I'm in the 7th grade. And I really like Star Wars, so my question for you is, the world has changed so much since the first Star Wars movie. How do you think the changes in the fights for racial justice will impact the Star Wars universe going forward?
Quick interjection. This was the topic of discussion in the video at the East Harlem School at Exodus House. Back to George's answer.
I don't know. I mean, I've kind of lost control of Star Wars, so it's going off in a different path than what I intended.
Let's start with going on a different path than he intended. Now, George has stated this multiple times in different ways over the last few years. Disney has stated that they have gone in the direction that George had intended, including people like Pablo Hidalgo. This is clearly not true. He elaborates.
But the first 6 are very much mine and my philosophy. And I think that philosophy sort of goes beyond any particular time, because it's based on history, it's based on philosophy, it's based on a lot of things. And you know, the first 3 basically tell you how a democracy turns into a dictatorship.
Again, something he has stated multiple times over the past, but he does kind of get into what direction Disney specifically has gone into and why it's different and why the Disney trilogy will not stand the test of time, and George's, at least original trilogy, will, because they were timeless.
The thing about that is, George, you're saying with the movies, there's the time. It's not of a time, but the lessons are timeless, right?
Yeah, they're timeless. They've been around for thousands of years. They're based on ancient mythology. Mythology was designed ultimately to give a society the tools they need to be a society, which means they have to have a common belief system. They have to believe in the same gods. They have to believe who their leaders are. They have to believe what their history is. They have to believe who their heroes are. Those are the things that combine to make a society.
Now, he goes on to say that America is the great experiment, which it is, where we have multiple people living together who believe in different gods and different things. But he states you need to have a basic structure. We have to believe in a lot of the same things, the same heroes generally. That's why you have people like yours truly and many others fighting for our modern mythology. We now live in a time where people are essentially burning books. They are banning them. They are suppressing speech, or they're trying to claim that YouTubers are radicalizing people because we don't like The Last Jedi. George Lucas doesn't like The Last Jedi. The Last Jedi undid the hero of millions, Luke Skywalker, your basic hero archetype. And they did it because they find the past problematic. Another thing I have stated multiple times on this channel is our beloved franchises are being used as political platforms.
All of the various colors and shapes of the aliens and everything that live in that world it's a normal situation. There's no real discrimination. The only discrimination is against robots.
This is exactly why the original trilogy, Star Trek and Doctor Who, lasted so long. They weren't specifically political. It's not being political when you're telling a moral tale of right and wrong. Yes, genocide, war, racism, white supremacy, or any kind of supremacy is bad. There's no political side on that, as much as the current crop of creatives in Hollywood and specifically at Lucasfilm would like you to believe. That's why they would like to erase our modern mythology and destroy our traditional heroes to make it look like nothing has changed.
But at the end, you have to have that cohesion. And we're beginning to get it for the whole world. We now split apart, but I think we'll get there someday. But that is the most important thing, is that you respect other people, you respect what they're doing, and you realize that we're part of a symbiotic relationship, meaning that we all help each other. That's the ecology of what we're in. If you take some of the gears out of the watch, it won't work anymore.
Sometimes statements can be unintentionally prophetic. It doesn't matter who they come from. Obviously, George comes at things from a different perspective than I do and many others. It doesn't make what he said any less true, but you judge a man by his actions and not by his words. When it comes to I lost control of Star Wars, that's a very interesting choice of words, and you can interpret that many different ways. When George Lucas sold Star Wars, he took 55% in cash and 45% in stock at $50 a share, 37,076,679 shares. That is now trading at $200 a share. At $200, George's 37 million shares are worth $7.4 billion, and it doesn't end there. If you put all together his dividend payments through 2013 to 2019, he received $448 million. Putting it all together, you now understand why George's net worth today is sitting at an all-time high of $10 billion. In the Weatherman's biography, that's who I call Bob Iger,
I love Lamp. I love Lamp.
He states that George wanted control. He wouldn't give it to him, but he would accept George's advice, his consultation, and he did buy his scripts and immediately threw them away. A complete slap in the face of the guy you just gave $4 billion to and created one of your biggest properties. How do you think he's going to feel? Now, of course, there was conversations prior to that too. We have no idea what was promised and not delivered. There might be another side to this story. That's why occasionally you hear things from George. He can't say anything outright because he's got 10 billion reasons not to.
In mythology and everything, they go to Hades and you talk to the devil and the devil says, this is what you do. And basically you sell your soul to the devil.
And that company he's making all of that dividend money off of has taken his baby, and instead of making it something that inspired fandom and brought people together, it's turned into a tool of divisiveness.
And our next question today, Mr. Chapek, comes from David Almasi from Alexandria, Virginia. Please go ahead.
Hi there. It's clear that there's a new blacklist punishing conservatives in the entertainment industry. Disney Plus actors Pedro Pascal and Gina Carano tweeted similar analogies of current political events to Nazi Germany. Yet only Carano, who is considered a conservative, was fired from The Mandalorian. Regarding Disney and a blacklist, this is the way?
Well, thank you for your question. I don't really see Disney as characterizing itself as left-leaning or right-leaning.
You gotta be fucking kidding.
Yet instead standing for values that are universal, values of respect, values of decency, values of integrity, and values of inclusion. And we seek to have not only how we operate, but the content that we make reflective of the rich diversity of the world that we live in. And I think that's a world that we all should live in harmony and peace. Thank you for your question. Next question, please.
Judge a man, a woman, or a company by their actions, not by their words. And we have to judge Disney Star Wars by their actions. And clearly, their fearless leader, Kathleen Kennedy, who was appointed by George Lucas, isn't going anywhere.
Greetings and salutations. Are you guys looking at firing Kathleen Kennedy or asking her to resign? and promote somebody like Filoni or Favreau or both as a co-counsel?
Thank you for your question, George. We've been absolutely thrilled that we can have the kind of creative talent in our company, the likes of Kathy Kennedy to run Lucas. And we look forward to having Kathy directing the activities of the entire Lucasfilm organization for many years to come. Thank you for your question. Next question, please.
Leox Jossi is the eccentric pilot of a vessel known simply as the Vessel. Pilot of a vessel known simply as the Vessel. Co-piloted by Appy Hollow and navigated by Geo, who appears to be a rock. Great Leox's go-with-the-flow attitude. With his effortless piloting, Appy's efficient repairs, and Geode's quick response, the vessel safely exits hyperspace.
Who would want to part ways with the creative genius who signed off on Geode, the navigating rock with lightning-fast reflexes? Now, I know there's a lot of hope out there that Disney Star Wars was going to turn things around. This turned out to be a false hope, partially from rumors and partially from Jon Favreau's The Mandalorian. Jon Favreau is just a cog in Kathleen Kennedy's machine, and George Lucas isn't going to come in and save anything. And why would he? Disney Star Wars is lame. He couldn't fix it if he tried at this point. Star Wars died when he sold it to Disney. Disney Star Wars will live on in all its stupidity. Now, my mind hasn't changed from The Last Jedi. My emotional connection with this franchise is severed, and the events of the last couple of months have just made me feel better about that decision. And whether Kathleen Kennedy likes it or not, Disney Star Wars remains the most unintentionally entertaining thing outside of any content they actually create. Now, there is some good news. If you're not a fan of Disney Star Wars, obviously the backlash is getting through, and obviously it's bothering them. Disney never acknowledges bad news, and they were forced to in their shareholders meeting. We cannot undersell that. They crossed the line when they fired Gina Carano the way they did. They bent the knee to cancel culture, who ended up spamming them every time they posted something about The Mandalorian with hashtag Fire Gina Carano, pushing the lies that Disney Star Wars eventually validated. You have turned the tables. You are doing the same thing, except you are pushing the truth. Every time Disney Star Wars puts something on YouTube, Instagram, or Twitter, you are there quoting Gina Carano or simply pointing out things they have actually done. This is how you beat them at their own game. This is the way.
Nerdrotic.com. Please subscribe.
Thanks for watching. If you like what I do, please like, share, and subscribe. It really does help. I will see you in the next video.